Les Kevin, Ortec, UTEC IT. This is going to be an important one, Les.
It is.
And we've joked around and had some fun with some the ones we've done, but this one's really good, I think, and personal, and we like it. But I'll warn you, don't ever go to one of their breakfasts.
Oh, boy.
Because you're asking for it. This will be an emotional tear. Bring your Kleenex if you do.
Got it. Okay.
And bring your checkbook. But you better put a limit on it, because once you hear the story, you're going to want to give everything in that checkbook. So, but we have Bree here today from Ellie's Place. Bree,
yeah,
how are you?
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Les. Thank you so much for having me.
And she's already given me the darts for saying don't go to her breakfast. You got to go to her breakfast. It's one of the best things in Washtenaw County.
Yeah.
It is one of the premier events to go to, right? Everybody's
Yes.
there. It's a who's who. It's a great networking event. But you get to hear a powerful story, right?
That's indeed true.
And this powerful story is what?
The powerful story is the impact that Ellie's Place, Ann Arbor, has had on a young person, child or teen, and their family after a personal death loss.
Yes.
And so how Ellie's Place has helped support them and provide them an opportunity in the space for as they grieve the person that they lost and they continue on their healing journey.
Yeah, I think I went to my first Ellie's Place Ann Arbor breakfast back in 16 or 17, and I got dragged along, and I was blindsided by this. And I made my family go the next year. I took my wife and my in-laws and our oldest daughter. Said, you got to come see this thing and be ready. And they're like, why'd you make us do that? All we could do was cry for 2 hours afterwards. But it is so cool to hear. Ellie's Place Ann Arbor does an amazing job on taking kids that are affected by grief, right? A loss of a parent, a sibling, caretaker, or somebody close to them, and giving them an outlet to recognize that they're normal, you know what I mean? And walking them through a grieving process and taking those emotions that, and we see what happens with our kids. We wonder why we got crime, why we got kids not scoring well in school, and they're dealing with this, right? And it's their mental health and their well-being, and giving a place to put that and grieve and work through that, I think is just so powerful, and it's neat to see this, neat to be a part of it.
Yep.
You hook, line, and sinker, man. You got me right away then.
You got all the talking points, Kevin.
No,
you hit
no,
it. I mean, are you looking for a job?
Well, no, it's just an organization that we've been, at UTEC, we've been very proud to be involved with Ellie's Place Ann Arbor, and it was neat because when I first met you guys, you were working out of a basement of a church, if memory serves me correct.
That's right.
And you've built this glorious home right down the street from us, haven't you?
Yes.
Tell us about that facility.
Sure thing. So thanks to the support of many, many community donors, family foundations, we went on a capital campaign that raised over $7.6 million to build what Kevin mentioned is a beautiful home. And we call it our Home for Healing Hearts for good reason, because it is a beautiful space that offers children, teens, and their families to come, and is a safe, warm environment, and they are able to connect with others who also experienced a death loss, and it just draws you in right away. The walls are covered with hearts that are decorated by former families that memorialize and honor their person who died, and it's just a really special place. It gives you a warm hug as soon as you walk in.
How did you, Kevin, when did you meet her in the church?
I think it was, 16 or 17 was our first breakfast I think we went to, and maybe even before that. It's been a while because, I think Mark Wilmette was the chair at the time, and Sean Duvall dragged me out, and I'll never forgive those two. And but no, it's like a who's who. I mean, I know Tim Marshall, Bank of Ann Arbor, has been very involved. I know Rick and Sue Snyder have been instrumental in getting our new building there. And people, I don't think they've ever been given enough due credit for all they've done in that regard. Tim Patton, I mean, just everybody in Ann Arbor rallies around this place.
Yep. So the capital campaign was chaired by Sue Snyder and Howdy Holmes, which, that the two of them are a perfect dynamic pair, and to lead the charge and raise the amount of funds that, really, now we have this beautiful home that we outright own. There's no debt associated to it. And so we have this space that the community has rallied around this organization, where we have moved from being in the basements of this church to the attic of a bank. And, here we finally have this space where our programmatic team and our development team were all under one roof. They spent hours and hours transporting materials and staff and programming needs to the church back and forth. I think it's 12 hours that they would spend a week just getting set up for their evening program. And now we're under one roof. And, I think, Les, the question maybe that you were kind of asking is like, well, how long has Ellie's Place really been in the Ann Arbor area? And we came to Ann Arbor in 2007. So we are happy to be celebrating 15 years in this community. And we just have continued to grow.
Sounds like the first 10 years, though, are a struggle.
Well, I think it's planting our roots, right? And the organization itself started in Lansing. So Ellie's Place as a whole has been, in the state of Michigan over 30 years. And they, too, started their roots in the basement of a church. Volunteers running the programs, which we still do to this day. We do have staff that oversee our programs in the evening, but we are run and fueled by volunteers, and we really can't do the work, that grief work, if it weren't for, our amazing volunteers.
How did you catch the passion? Because I can just imagine that, those first few years, because I always thought there's two kinds of courage, right? The courage to get started on something. But then there's the second courage, and that's when things start to go sideways or you run into a challenge, but you still carry through. That's the deeper, more meaningful level of courage.
Yeah. Well, so our organization was founded by Ellie's parents, Betsy and Woody Stover. And so their daughter, Helen Louise Snow Stover, also known as Ellie, she died at 11 months of age.
Wow.
And they had 3 surviving children at that time. And Betsy and Woody realized that, their children were grieving in different ways than they were. And they really sought after this mission and model to not only help their own kids, but other kids that were experiencing a personal death loss. Like, how do we support these kids? Like, we're grieving and, we can sit with our feelings, but how do we support, our kids in this very instrumental time in their development? And so they, along with the help of the Junior League of Lansing, sought after this model. It's a peer-based grief support model where, just as you mentioned very early on, Kevin, that these kids, they don't feel alone, right? They are in a room with their peers, and they recognize that I'm not the only one here that has these big feelings, and I'm not the only person that lost someone important to them.
I look at people and this sounds terrible. I'm a terrible guy, right? So it would be fine. But like you see people that lose a pet, like adults at work, coworkers, and they want to take off a day or two of work, and they're moping about losing a pet, and I'm thinking it's a dog or a cat, right? And I'm thinking this is why you need to be involved with this, because imagine those kids have those same feelings that we do as adults on that, but they don't know how to get rid of them. They don't know how to deal with. I mean, we don't know how to deal with them as adults most of the time, right?
Right.
And these young kids have no idea how to relieve that or work through that. You don't ever relieve it, right? You don't ever get rid of it. But how do you carry on? And I think Ellie's Place is just unbelievable. And working with these kids, when you see them when they come in versus when they go out, you're like, yeah, that's $1 well spent. That's $1. That's an hour invested in time, or whatever it is. It's well worth it.
So, so it's listed chronologically, and so you were in the basements, your grassroots, right?
Yep.
So, how did you build awareness in the early years? Because there's 2 times. There's one, for the folks that need to be engaged, and then funding it and growing it. So there's a lot of need there. How did you build that awareness?
Yeah, so a lot of what Ellie's Place, the way people know about Ellie's Place is definitely word of mouth. that we have people like Kevin and you that kind of share about the work that we do. And we started, Ellie's Place as an organization. The model that we kind of were established by is this Ben Avon model, where we invite people to the breakfast and where there's this mission and we share our stories, and former families get up there and share the impact of Ellie's Place. And that was really what Ellie's Place did across the state. So we have 4 locations in Lansing, Ann Arbor, West Michigan, which is Grand Rapids, and then Flint. So we all kind of have this foundation of the breakfast model. And, as you adapt and you change and you need to build your awareness, we've added different events. And so each of our branches kind of do things a little bit differently. In Ann Arbor, we started about 2018, so just before our building was built, and we added, kind of more of a fun evening event, the Derby Day Soiree. And that has helped, build awareness and a more upbeat, friendly, totally themed around the Kentucky Derby. We watch the Derby. There's big screens and
the hats.
Oh, definitely hats, bow ties. I mean,
what's that special?
Yep, bourbon. Right up your alley, right? So it's a really soft entry into kind of learning about our organization. We always have a moment of mission, of course, with all the events that we do. And then 2 years ago, we added a 5K walk run. And really,
I like you added the walk part.
Walk. It's a walk run.
Right.
You notice I didn't say run walk. It's a walk run. And
is there a virtual option?
Yes, always.
Okay, good.
And the impetus behind that was, let's have an event where we can engage our community. We can engage our current and former families and really embrace individuals in our community who have experienced a death loss. And let's celebrate and honor those people and come together as a community. And so it's really family friendly. And just, people like to get out and move. So it was another opportunity to raise awareness and raise funds and an entry point for people to learn about our organization.
Betsy and Woody are very still involved. They got 4 locations, but they're still very involved. We're fortunate with Ellie's Place Ann Arbor. Being Ann Arbor, we've got the best staff down here. We got the best group, right? But no, it's remarkable, and it's something that I keep on saying until we're done with this podcast. People need to get out and they need to get involved in this. They need to come see the impact that people make, and we support lots of nonprofits here. We got a lot of great partners, but I know every time we give a volunteer hour or $1, that return on that's tenfold that we get back by how you help these people.
Thank you.
You guys do great stuff.
Well, we appreciate UTEC and the support that you have given the organization for years and years to come.
So the house, right?
The home.
The home, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm kidding.
The house is where they play football.
The
home's
home.
where they heal the broken heart.
Right. There you go. Hey, I like that. We might be adding another event or something, right?
Right. New birth, right? New idea. So the home is it's primarily volunteer.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we currently are running, so we are back. I mean, I guess just the excitement of Ellie's Place and where we are today. So we are back in running 4 days of weekly programming. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And what that is that's 28 peer grief support groups that are happening on a weekly basis. Or actually per night on a weekly basis. So 28 groups per night. And that's pretty impressive.
It's a lot to manage.
So we have volunteers that help facilitate those peer grief support groups for both children and teens. We serve children who are as young as 3 up to age 18. And then we also provide grief support programs for the caretakers. So adults who are bringing their child or teen to Ellie's Place, they have the opportunity to also join a group. And we kind of divide those groups out in terms of type of loss. So a parent loss group, a child loss group, an other significant loss group. And so that would be a person that is your aunt, uncle,
Right.
grandparent, friend, someone that doesn't fall into the other category. And then we also do offer support programs that are kind of specific to like drug overdose, suicide, homicide. So we do have a support group that is kind of geared to that type of loss.
Yeah, I'm imagining that there's a different, not only do individuals have different grieving processes, but the actual event, the passing, that's, very individualized and a lot, I would think anyway, your area, but that like a long drawn out death might be much different than something very sudden.
Yep.
And needs to be treated differently.
Yeah, and I think, people's death loss experience is going to be different, and we recognize that and provide that space and that opportunity for sharing, right? And whether it was an anticipatory death or, a sudden death, I think there's still those feelings and emotions that come with either.
One of the things I read was the activities of the groups. What is that? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so we use a lot of play-based activities to help the children and teens, talk through their feelings. It's not that we're all just sitting in a room and sitting with our feelings and, the heaviness of that. Because with children and even the teens too, like they're grieving in spurts. And so one moment they might be, sad and kind of feeling in that emotion. And then the next minute they're, we have, an activity going on where it's movement or it's, play-based. And that helps to kind of, run with those feelings and emotions. And that gives them that space to be in the moment of that feeling and talk through that and recognize that their peers have a similar thought or feeling. And then we're, talking about it in different ways, okay, and that reflective listening. So our volunteers, they go through a 25-hour training, and they are learning from our Masters of Social Work bereavement coordinators that, give them that skill set to help with that reflective listening and encourage the participants to share those thoughts and feelings.
So the activities kind of get them in motion.
Yes. Yep. They definitely help guide them through their grief journey, right? And share when they're ready to share. And so we build in not only those sharing of memories and feelings, but those coping skills and skills that are going to help our children and teens not only through their grief journey, but their life journey. Because grief is something that's not going to end.
Yeah.
And I think, Kevin, you said it, as you said, move through, right? And move forward with their grief. And that is really, they're going to be at Ellie's Place, I think, I shouldn't say I think. Their general time at Ellie's Place is around 10 months that an average family would be participating at Ellie's Place. But we also have participants that stay with Ellie's Place for years, really. And so at different stages of their life, they might be experiencing, a milestone that they recognize that their loss of their person's not there, and they're a teenager now, and they're learning to drive, and, my person's not here anymore. And so, we're going to help walk them through that too. So once a person, we use the term close. So once they close at Ellie's Place, there is always that open invitation to come back.
Right.
Yeah, you got to go down and see it, because I think it's important, and I encourage anybody to see it. You're not just sitting around moping, right?
No.
They're doing stuff, and
Yes.
when the moment hits, they're there to talk about the grief or the emotion they're dealing with, and they get back. But you go through there, and it's just a bunch of kids out there having a good time, and it may be a kickball game or a soccer game going on out there, or basketball, but to an art and craft project, or they're building something, and you're like, yeah, it's really cool what's going on, here.
Yeah.
But it's really neat, and then it's really neat to see the kids kind of, I always use their expression, check themselves out. Like when they, hey, I've got this, I got the skill set now to tackle this, and I don't think I need to come here. I'm going to free my spot up for somebody else. It's really neat to see them cross that bridge, and they still come back, and you just got to come see it, right?
You do.
It's just something you got to be a part of.
Gotta
'cause
come
it is
see us.
just really cool people down there doing amazing, cool things.
Where's the breakfast typically held? The one I'm being told
That you're
on
going to
one
come
hand-
to?
Yeah, and then on the other hand.
There's no pancakes there. They give you fruit and yogurt and,
Oh.
and some coffee. Yeah.
light breakfast.
Yeah.
So our breakfast this year will be held at the Kensington Hotel.
Oh, okay.
And that's going to occur on October 11th. So next Tuesday we will gather at 7:15 in the morning. We'll have some networking and coffee, and then our breakfast program will start at 8 a.m. So
Okay.
I'll save you a seat, Les.
Thank you.
You'll be sitting with me. I'll tell Lindsay. No, but seriously, we would love you. Got to come. I know.
Just don't take his check. Make sure it's a credit card, all right?
Sure thing.
Unless you want to play basketball.
All right, we can do that too. We'll go for our swim, and then we'll go to Ellie's Race breakfast.
It sounds like fun. So that's the 11th,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
7:30.
7:15.
7:15.
But just be there by 7:45.
Got it. Okay,
Got it.
good.
And so we'll have the links for Ellie's Place at Ann Arbor that anybody can go see afterwards if they want to. And again, it's a volunteer of time, and you may have no experience dealing with kids or grief or anything like that. Great volunteers, they'll train you up on that. And we've always got professionals down there in the house, right?
That's right.
Working with them all the time. We always take cash, always take checks, credit cards, all that stuff's good. But sometimes it's just lending a hand, helping spread the word, and
That's right.
and doing stuff. So there's plenty of roles everybody can fill.
Yep.
You'll be a better person for it.
Right?
Yep.
You'll feel better about yourself.
That's right. So I think just
And I
one
get
thing
to hang
to
out
add.
with you, right?
That's right. I mean, you guys are enjoying my time here, right?
Yes.
But I think to your point is that we do all these wonderful things and we offer this amazing service and it's free of charge. And I just kind of want to hone in on that because, when someone's going through this traumatic loss, and it could be a loss of an income for a family, for them to walk in, and we have this intake process where we learn a little bit more about the person who died and who is interested in attending groups. And when those individuals in that room, who are responsible for those bills and all those other things that are coming into the household, when they hear that they can come to this service and it's free, they don't have to worry about insurance or any of those things. It is, our program staff, just the physical, sigh of relief that they see in these families is pretty incredible. And
Yeah, because you don't want to be dealing with all this nonsense and then getting an invoice on top of it. And that's why it's important. We raise money and then we build on this because it is free, and we need to do more of it, and we need to make sure we keep it free.
that's right.
And it's one thing when everybody coming in, everybody's equal.
That's exactly right.
And it's a great place to start, and we go from there and we build them back up, and best investment we can make.
Thanks,
Right.
Kevin. I appreciate that.
So did I say that we should give money, time, effort to Ellie's Place, Ann Arbor?
Absolutely.
We need to do more there, and the returns. Do I need to say it one more time?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Say it one more time.
Say it one more time.
Ellie's Place, Ann Arbor. Look them up. You'll get to talk to Bree. There's a ton of amazing people there that will help answer questions, get you involved, do whatever, right?
Yep, that's right.
And make sure we support Ellie's Place, Ann Arbor.
Got it.
Thank you for being on, Bree.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Bree.
much.